Hello and welcome to Montgomery County Police Beat. I'm Patrick Lacefield, Director of Montgomery County's Office of Public Information. I'm here with Montgomery County Police Chief Tom Manger to get an update on the strengthening of driving under the influence, or DUI, laws in the state of Maryland. Chief Manger, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
I think many people are probably not aware that the police department is active every year in trying to affect public policy and laws in Annapolis during the Maryland General Assembly session. And I know this year you've been very active in Noah's Law, which is a law that is coming out of the fact that we had an incident where police officer Noah Leotta was killed while doing DUI enforcement in Rockville in December. Shortly after that happened, I know you went before the cameras and made a very impassioned plea for stronger laws in the state of Maryland. Let's go to that clip and take a look.
And I can tell you that the fact that Noah was out trying to prevent that crime, that crime that ended up killing him, I hope that shines a light on this case.
Chief, that was an incredibly powerful thing that you just said, and I know that it came from the heart. Share with us some of your feelings beyond that in terms of the Officer Leotta's death.
Well, that was in a very emotional time. That was the day that Noah was taken off life support, and I actually had just spent a few minutes with his parents inside our 4th District station, speaking with them a little bit, and so it was a very emotional time. But I think the message was a clear one, and that is that the drunk driving laws in the state of Maryland need to be strengthened. And so, as you mentioned, we've spent a lot of time in Annapolis. We'll continue to spend a lot of time in Annapolis trying to get those laws strengthened, and we're coming at it from a number of different angles. The one piece of legislation called Noah's Law, it was proposed by Delegate Ben Cramer, and actually Delegate Cramer's been trying to get this law that requires the use of an interlock ignition device by anyone who's convicted of anyone convicted of drunk driving. He's been trying to get that passed for 5 or 6 years, and I think with what occurred with Noah, where he was struck and killed by a drunk driver, a repeat drunk driver, that really has given us some momentum to get some changes.
Now, are there other ways in which Maryland's laws are weaker than they ought to be?
I think they are. I mean, if you look at some of the penalties for homicide by DUI, vehicular manslaughter, these are cases where you've got someone who is absolutely drunk and they kill someone. The penalties for those offenses are much more lenient, much lighter than most other states in the U.S. We've got we had 2 young men, Wooten High School students, that were killed late last year. And we had an adult who hosted an underage drinking party, knowingly allowed these teens to drink, and as a result, one young man left and got in a car crash, killing two of his friends. And the penalty for the adult who hosts these parties is nothing but a fine. Now the man pled guilty in court and got the maximum fine of $2,500 for each death, $5,000, and you've got 2 dead young men. So so having some exposure to jail time for someone, especially if you do have a death or serious injury as a result, I think is a great deterrent for these parents, because I think that too many parents don't get the message about how dangerous this is.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably some parents just sort of think, well, I'm going to be there.
Right.
I'd rather have them drinking here at home than going out and drinking and driving.
That's the thought, but the reality is that, and we
they didn't get there by public transportation.
Correct, and the parent's not going to drive all of them home. The parent likely did not call every single parent of the kid who was at their home and say, hey, is it okay if your son or daughter drinks? In fact, we respond to these cases just about every single weekend. We respond to an underage party somewhere, and we've had alcohol poisoning cases. We've had sexual assaults occur. I mean, there's a whole host of criminal violations that come out of these kinds of parties that are really very, very quickly get out of control.
Right. And so your message to parents would be what?
Well, the message is that it's unlawful to drink if you're under the age of 21. And not only is it unlawful, I mean, it's not good for the kids. I mean, the fact is that this notion that, well, kids are going to do it anyway, so I'd rather them do it under my supervision. Okay, well, if you want to do it with your own children and they're not out driving, unlikely that law enforcement's going to find out about that case. But there's too many cases where you're allowing other people's kids to drink, and these kids end up getting hurt, killed, and involved in other unlawful activities. So we're focusing on that to try and get some deterrent for them. But we're also, and we're looking at the penalties. But I think that the biggest issue that we're trying to push is Noah's Law. It's where the requirement that if you're convicted of drunk driving, that you would have to have the ignition interlock device. That is,
and right now the level that's required to require an interlock ignition device is higher than it ought to be.
Correct. This would be for anyone convicted of drunk driving, not just someone who is twice the legal limit. If you're over the limit, this would include you. And the real value in the ignition interlock is that you're stopping people from getting back on the road drunk.
Right.
The folks have to blow into this machine in order to start their car.
Right.
You can do it, subtly, and the intent is not to embarrass someone. Although
embarrassing is better than being on the road.
It is, so if we can do that, what we're doing is preventing. And I think that I read the figure the last several years there were 18,000 people that had these devices in their cars that when they blew in them, that they had alcohol in their breath, so they could not start their car. That's 18,000 incidents where a drunk driver did not get on the road. So this is, I think, a very effective way to deal with drunk drivers and really prevent more drunk drivers from getting onto the road.
Now, I know in the case of the Noah Leotta tragedy that the person who hit him had actually been in a local establishment drinking for what, 4 hours?
He had been, and he made a statement afterward that basically said that this was sort of a routine evening for him, and this individual had at least 2 previous arrests for DUI, and we believe a third in another state. So, I mean, here you've got an individual that has clearly not gotten the message about drinking and driving, even after having been, arrested before. So, I think that, one of the things that Noah's Law would do is if you have subsequent convictions, second, third, fourth DUI convictions, that you would have to have that interlock device in your car for longer periods of time. And again, if you're demonstrating that lack of judgment or that level of problem with alcohol, then it's probably best and safer for everyone if you do have one of those devices in your car.
Now, I guess this would lead a lot of people to ask the question, well, what about the establishment that served this guy for 4 hours?
And that's a great question. I mean, we've got, unfortunately, there's no real recourse for anyone to go back to that establishment to hold them responsible. I believe it's Delegate Dumais has introduced legislation that would, in fact, allow victims of these drunk drivers to hold establishments responsible. Now, I'll tell you, that's going to be a tough fight, and it's those you can argue both sides of that law, but the fact is, folks, should not be serving people that are obviously intoxicated. And it's always difficult because you get a waiter or waitress, and you say, well, this person's just doing their job. The fact
or they change shifts.
Right, but the fact is that these establishments, if they have a liquor license, they've been required to go through specific training, and
which includes not serving intoxicated people.
Exactly, and so so there's legislation that's been proposed as well about holding these establishments responsible.
So presumably in investigating this, your officers went to that establishment.
Yes,
and
we
questioned them.
We always do, and any drunk driving death, we'll try and trace back what occurred, just so that we have all the facts that contributed to
Right.
some of this individual's death. And so we had 9 cases last year of people who were killed by drunk drivers, and Officer Liotta was one of them. But all of those victims were folks that were unfortunately put in life-changing, life-altering, life-ending situations because of a drunk driver.
What's the training like for dealing with DUI and making stops like this in the academy?
Our officers are taught to look for certain driving behaviors, and that's what if you see someone, and the classic, someone weaving in the lane, but there are other things. I mean, someone who's driving too slow, someone who's driving too fast, someone who is not, who makes an unsafe lane change. I mean, just behaviors that indicate that the person who's driving is impaired.
Right.
And so we certainly, based on the driving behavior that we observe, that gives us the legal authority to make the stop. Now, once we make the stop, folks, they throw in breath mints, they're chewing gum. There's all kinds of tricks that people have up their sleeve that they think they can hide it. The fact is, if you've got someone who's been drinking, the minute they roll their window down, the minute that you get close to them, you can smell the alcohol around
People
them.
are probably not aware of that.
They may be, and like I said, there's all kinds of tricks that people claim that if you do this, the fact is that it's tough to hide, and when you combine the driving behavior and that smell of alcohol, that certainly gives our police officers enough legal foundation to test someone and to take them into custody.
And when officers are pulling someone over, they often angle their car.
They do. That we angle our car in such a way so that if someone does come up and hit our car, because whether and this is a classic case, and this is what happened in Officer Liotta's case, where you've got someone who's driving and they see the police lights ahead, and they just fixate on them, and so they just keep driving and driving, and they just drive right into the car. So what we do is we angle our vehicles so that if someone does hit our car from the back, it's not going to it'll go out into the lane, and hopefully shield the police officer who's up talking to the person with the vehicle they've stopped. In Officer Liotta's case, he had been up, he'd talked to the officer, he had the driver's license with him, he was walking back to his car, and just in that instant that he was coming around to open his car doors when the collision occurred.
Well, it's a great tragedy and also a just fight for stronger laws.
I think so, and I felt very very strongly about that, and so we're fighting the good fight.
Great. Chief Manger, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
I'm Patrick Lacefield, along with Montgomery County Police Chief Tom Manger. Thanks for watching, and please join us again next time on Montgomery County Police Beat, when we get answers straight from the Chief about law enforcement issues that matter to you.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.